Hello from Johannesburg, South Africa. This is CGTN social media live streaming, and we are coming to you live from Sandton area. It's part of this big Johannesburg area. And we're coming to you live covering the BRICS summit over here. And this has been the second day of the BRICS summit. And this morning, President Xi Jinping has delivered remarks at a meeting among the 5 members of the BRICS. Now, this coming afternoon is the afternoon time here in Johannesburg, and we're expected to see President Xi hosting bilateral meetings among several countries. So right behind me, we're expecting to see the convoy of President Xi passing behind me. So please stay tuned for this social media live stream, and you will be able to see the convoy of President Xi going through over here. And we are coming to you live from CGTN's social media platforms. And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave your comments on our Facebook and Twitter accounts. And we'll be able to read it out while this social media live streaming. Because we're still standing by waiting for his convoy, so we don't know exactly what time he will come by. But during this period of time, while we are waiting, I'm certainly going to update you about the several key moments of BRICS summit. Now, as we know that BRICS is an organization of 5 nations: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And then they rotate to be the host members of the bloc of the summit. And last year, the BRICS summit was held in China. And this year, it is being held in South Africa. The significance of the BRICS summit for this year because is the first of its kind after the pandemic. So the leaders of the 5 members haven't been able to meet during the 3-year pandemic, but finally 4 out of the 5 members, 4 out of the 5 leaders of BRICS members are able to meet here in Johannesburg. So this morning, all 5 of the members, President Putin was joining the meeting virtually. All 5 of them delivered keynote speech, including President Xi. And President Xi mentioned several prospects during his speech. He first of all gave a general idea of the current world we're staying in. He said that we are having a major shift in the world's landscape. So that's why he called for high-quality development in all perspectives. And he really delivered a speech in several layers. There are cooperations in politics and economic level as well as social level. But he mentioned a lot from the economic perspective. He mentioned about developing biz and financial boost the economy after the COVID-19 pandemic. He stressed on the economy recovery, and he noted that it's very difficult for a recovering economy, especially for the developing countries given the post-pandemic era. So that's why he called for very practical cooperation. There are several, he listed several areas that the BRICS countries could further address on, including the green development, the digital economy, sustainable development, and more. He also mentioned that China will build a China BRICS Science Incubation Hub, and this is designated for the data cooperation between the BRICS members. From the political perspective, President Xi called for political and security cooperation. And he noted that the Cold War mentality is quite dangerous nowadays. And the BRICS members are together and calling for peaceful development. From the social perspective, President Xi called for people-to-people exchanges. He mentioned about that all the member states of the 5 BRICS nations should conduct mutual learning, and he cherished the civilization among all countries, and he called for peaceful coexistence for all of the different perspectives of the culture. And the countries, the member states of BRICS should all respect the different path of modernization. Therefore, this is the period of time that the BRICS members should call for to improve a global governance. Now, the current global governance is dominated by the West, with a lot of dangerous ideology, such as Cold War mentality and hegemony. And BRICS is providing an environment of inclusiveness rather than confrontation. That's why a lot of the members prior to this BRICS summit have also shown their keen interest in joining the group. At this moment, we know that about 40 countries have expressed their interest. Speaking of official requests, 23 countries have made an official request to the organization with emerging economies. But what is being interesting that if you take a look at the 23 countries, there are certainly there are Iran and Saudi Arabia. Given the fact that Saudi Arabia, or there are also some other countries that are previously pro-Western side, so you can see that given the current situation, there are several countries that are also are interested in joining BRICS. It shows that a high demand of a reform of global governance. So, given the current situation, the convoy of President Xi will come behind me at any time. So I'm gonna getting out of the frame to give you a full perspective of the current situation right now. Now, we know that President Xi is going to come, is here in Johannesburg for a state visit. His state visit is 4 days. And he touched down in Johannesburg on the night of Monday, basically at 23 p.m. local time. So basically his first day was on the road. But what's being interesting is that President Cyril Ramaphosa come here and welcome President Xi on site. Okay, now we're expecting to see there's a convoy coming in. We're still not sure at this moment what was the delegation for, but certainly at this moment there are several cars coming into the hotel. This is the site where President Xi is going to host a series of bilateral meetings with the head of states. We have seen the flag of Senegal. On one of the cars, you can see the flag of Senegal stood over there. We are still expecting to see the Chinese delegation. So basically, President Xi is going to, the leader of state, President Xi, is going to meet this afternoon are very likely the members from the Global South. Prior to this summit, President Ramaphosa sent invitations to leaders of all African countries. He also sent an invitation to leaders to several countries of the Global South. And this is certainly a big party of the Global South. We talked about the BRICS expansion. So there are several countries wants to take this opportunity to further deepen cooperation with BRICS members. And this is also an opportunity for China to conduct a relationship with African countries. Now, as I mentioned before, I mentioned about the President Xi's state visit. So this is, so his state visit comes from Monday all the way to Thursday. And this is his third day of state visit and also the second day of the BRICS summit. This morning, President Xi attended the group meeting of the BRICS members. He delivered a keynote speech. And in the afternoon, President Xi is expected to meet with several heads of states. They're about to host several bilateral meetings. I'm about to see there are more cars coming in. So President Xi arrived in Johannesburg on late Monday. And as I mentioned, President Ramaphosa was welcoming him at the airport. And the second day, the day after that, which is Tuesday, President Ramaphosa held a welcoming ceremony at the Union Buildings in Pretoria, which is a city very close to Johannesburg. At the Union Buildings, President Xi was honored Order of Africa Medal, Order of South Africa Medal. And both of the president also held and both presidents also met the press and cherished the relationship between the 25 years of diplomatic relationship between China and South Africa. South Africa is very is a country that is celebrating the diversity. Certainly, the entire country. When we come over here, you can certainly feel the diversity of this country, and particularly the people we talk to, they're very friendly to Chinese people, given the current, given the tight relationship between the two countries, where officials call the relationship brotherly friendship. And it's certainly, when we talk to people on the street, they're very friendly to Chinese, and then a lot of the times they're very, very helpful. But certainly this country also suffers from a very painful history, which is apartheid history. I guess that's the reason why the developing countries really call for, make sure that their voice is being heard. When President Xi arrived, the day when President Xi arrived, he published an article on the local media outlets. The article talks about China's relationship with South Africa, and in the article, President Xi mentioned about how back in the mid-20th century, the newly founded People's Republic of China was supporting South Africa's people in fighting against apartheid history. China has always been supportive all the way along. President Xi, in his article, also mentioned about how China is supporting the South Africa during the pandemic by giving supplies. Also, in that article, President Xi mentioned multiple perspectives. He mentioned several de facto areas that the two countries could cooperate on. He mentioned about how China and South Africa could further boost the friendship under the BRICS mechanism, and how the BRICS mechanism could push forward the relationship among countries from the global south. He also says that the South African and Chinese relationship could serve as a model of how China built ties with African nations. Well, President Ramaphosa was hosting the greetings for President Xi. President Xi mentioned about, during the press conference, he mentioned about how China and South Africa are companions sharing the same ideas, and that they should be the heart of China-Africa ties. He raised several examples of the Chinese investment in South Africa, and hopefully after this summit there will be more imports from South Africa to China. You're watching CGTN's social media live stream. We're coming to you live from Johannesburg, South Africa. Precisely, this is Sandton area of Johannesburg, which is a very vibrant area in suburban Johannesburg. But at this site, this year's BRICS summit is being held over here. As you can see, that the site is becoming busier. We're still waiting for President Xi's convoy arrive at the hotel. On site, we can see many of the Chinese delegations. They're preparing for this event. We can see the security is trying to clear the site. So we're expected to see the motorcycle and the convoy of President Xi anytime from now. There's more cars following them, so we're expecting to see more. I think the The cars passing by just now are the Chinese delegation, and they should be the group of the people who will arrive ahead of President Xi. They're here to do several preparations for the president. Okay, you have just seen the two groups of cars passing by. The first group of car was a group from Senegal, and the second group is the Chinese delegation.
是，他没有走那个门，酒店的门，直接下地库了。是这个吧？对，就这个。他没有走，他一直不知道。这是咋的？这是咋的？还得往前。这是咋的？这个放的是咋的？
Okay, so just now you have already seen the two convoys passing through. The first group of convoy was the group of delegation from Senegal. So certainly at this moment we're being able to say that President Xi will host a meeting with the leader from Senegal. And the second delegation convoy is President Xi's convoy. So over here at this at Senton in Johannesburg, we have already witnessed how the leaders have come through the venue, and they're about to host the bilateral meetings. Okay, and that's it for today's live streaming. We thank you for tuning in, and talk to you soon. Bye-bye.